You're listening to Market the Brew, a leading resource for promoting and marketing craft beer. Join in as we share with you, straight from the source, tools and strategies craft brewers from around the country are using right now to achieve significant success. Today's guests spent several years planning their brewery. They found the building, created their brand identity, assembled the brew house, designed the taproom, hired the staff, brewed their first batch of beers, and promoted their grand opening. The grand opening was held on Saturday, and the taproom was full on Sunday as well. They, like many other breweries, would take Mondays and Tuesdays off as their weekend. They would reopen again on Wednesday, and were looking forward to the start of their first week as a brewery. Unfortunately, the excitement of opening was crushed by a government-ordered closing due to the spread of COVID-19. Their Facebook post simply said, "At this time, we have made the difficult decision to close for at least the next 15 days as per the CDC guidelines." You could feel their pain as they shared, "After such a successful and long-awaited grand opening and the overwhelming support we have received, we do not take this step lightly." Hopeful the 15 days would be enough to stop the spread of the virus, they were further disappointed at the announcement from Florida Governor Ron DeSantis that ordered all bars closed for 30 days. After the 30 days, the state only allowed for restaurants to open, as bars and breweries were considered to be spreader locations for the virus. And after what seemed like an eternity in an uphill battle, breweries were finally allowed to open at reduced capacity. Despite these setbacks, they continued to communicate optimism and appreciation for what was a successful opening weekend. We are still humbled by the wonderful response we received. Please stay safe and healthy, and we look forward to seeing you back in very soon, a later post read. Eventually, the state of Florida would toss out the mandates, and the counties would slowly reopen to a population that was hesitant to venture out. Business would slowly return to normal, but what was normal? As they had opened their door mere days before a global pandemic, they had no baseline in which to measure. Listen in to learn more about the struggles of opening days before the global pandemic shutdown, as Danielle and Travis talk with Johnnie Levin, owner of the Front Page Brewing Company in Bartow, Florida. But before we start the podcast, a quick reminder that the Market the Brew podcast is available at marketthebrew.com and on Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio Podcast, and other popular podcast sites. The video of these episodes will be available on the Promote the Brew YouTube channel for you to watch or listen in. We hope that you will join us and share these episodes with your family and friends. Now find a comfortable place to sit, grab a glass of your favorite beer, kick back and relax as you listen in to Danielle and Travis as they chat with Johnnie Levin, founder of the Front Page Brewing Company in Bartow, Florida, as she shares information about herself, the brewery, and opening just days before the national shutdown due to COVID. Cheers.
Hey there, good to see you.
Hi, likewise. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for meeting with us. So we're going to talk a little bit about your brewery, Front Page Brewing in Florida.
Yep.
Can you tell us a little bit about who you are and a little bit about where you're from?
Okay, so my name is Johnnie Levin, and my husband Bill and I started Front Page Brewing. As you know, and I know we're going to get into, we started a little over 2 years ago, right as the pandemic was kicking off. So we've had a fun ride. I'm sure we'll talk quite a bit about that today. And that's pretty much it. My background, as we talked about trying to get this call going, I was a corporate trainer for a lot of years and decided to semi-retire, looking for something to do. And here I am on a podcast with you talking about my brewery.
And how did you guys get into brewing? Did you home brew or did you enjoy breweries?
It's one of those cliche things where, oh, I love craft beer, let me open a brewery. Kind of sort of that, but not completely. I have enjoyed craft beer my entire life since I was a very small child, actually. Always had an affinity for it. Really enjoy craft breweries. Back in the day when they really weren't a thing, had the opportunity to travel quite a bit. And so Denver was the scene back then, and visited quite a few there. Every time I traveled, sought out a craft brewery. And then when I left the corporate world looking for something to do, I joined my husband in his housing rehab business. Wasn't quite for me. So I decided, what am I going to do? He found a program, and I do have to give them a huge shout out. So it's the University of South Florida, St. Pete campus, Brewing Arts program. And it is a 6-month certification program, completely online. But if you're local, you have a lot of opportunity to do hands-on, visit breweries, brew with them, go to the distributors. They cover the entire industry, because it's not just about, do you want to brew? You could go into marketing, go into sales, you could be an owner, you could be a brewer, you could be a taproom manager. So they cover everything. It's a really, really good program. And decided, as soon as I started that program, I felt like I'm at home. Like, this is where I want to be. It's where I need to be. And so we had been talking about our town needing a brewery. Going through that program kind of cemented the desire to do it. And we were business minded. We knew it's not just a fun thing to do. It is a serious business. It's a lot of investment, a lot of capital required to open a brewery. And we just started down the path and never stopped. And here we are. And the timing was interesting, to say the least. But it's just I feel at home in this industry. That's what I always say and truly believe. And to this day, even everything that we've been through, I really just enjoy what I do every day.
Yeah, you said
And I
that.
do not brew, by the way.
You said that the town needed a brewery. Are you the only one in that area, or is there multiple breweries in the area?
So we are in Polk County, and it is one of the largest counties in Florida. We're not the largest, but we're in the top 6, I believe. And we're very spread out. We're very rural. So we don't have a large concentration of breweries. I am one of 6. And our town, it's a bedroom community. We are the county seat. So we do have a lot of people that come in to work at the courthouse. We get a lot of traffic just driving through. If you're going to go coast to coast in Florida and Central Florida, you're probably going to go through Bartow. So we're not a large town, but we are large enough, and we're the only one. We are the only one. We've got neighbors to the north of us, south of us. I'm not very good with directions, being like right in the center of the state, but we are surrounded by other breweries, but in our town, we are the only one.
Okay, nice.
And are there any parts of the brewing business that are your favorite? Like, do you enjoy the tap room the most, or the brewing process the most? What is the part that excites you the most?
That's a good question. That is a really good question. I leave the brewing to the professionals. We've had very good brewers come through our doors. We've gone through a couple, and gone through is kind of not the right way to say it, but given everything that we've gone through, the way the past couple of years have fallen out, we've had a couple of different brewers on staff. The gentleman that's with us now, Vaughn, so a shout out to Vaughn. He's been with us a little over a year now, and he puts out some incredible beer. And we've been very fortunate. Everybody that we've had on staff has represented the business well. When we hire, we do look for quality, people that know what they're doing, that are going to fulfill the needs of the business. So I leave the back of the house to the professional. So I'm more involved in the front of the house, and I'd say that's probably where I'm most engaged and kind of get the most satisfaction of people drinking what's coming out of the brew house and enjoying it and meeting up with their friends and having a good time. And that's what we're about. From day one, we wanted to be a part of the community and a place where our community could gather. And that's also cliche, because that's what a lot of breweries are about. Where people can get together and have a good time. And that still happens. It happens every day, and we love it. And I get, I think, the most satisfaction out of seeing that and experiencing that.
I'd say a lot of the breweries we've talked to and people we've interviewed have said their favorite part is being in the tap room and getting to talk to people in the community and building those friendships and relationships.
Oh yeah, I mean, I have friendships now that will last me a lifetime, just because you interact with them, you see them every day, and you get to know them over the course of time. And there's just, amazing people out there, and having them come in and enjoy your product is kind of also sometimes icing on the cake. It's a good experience being out in the tap room. Yeah, I get it. I understand it.
And then roughly how big would you say your tap room or like brewery is? And then where can our listeners also find your like beer?
Okay, so you're going to only find our beer in our tap room. I don't know if you've talked to any other breweries in Florida, but our distribution laws are a little antiquated. We are still the 3-tier system, so you can either occupy the manufacturer, the wholesaler, or the retail space. A number of years ago, there was a fight to allow craft breweries to occupy the retailer and the manufacturer spot, but we have 2 different licenses for that. And they're both heavily regulated. So we cannot self-distribute in Florida right now. So we don't. Also, tying it back to the pandemic, we have not had the opportunity to really get our production in enough of a flow where we can accurately forecast what do we need for our tap room and what do we need for distribution. So we're not there yet. So if you want to drink our beer, you have to come to Central Florida. Have to come to our tap room. And size-wise, we're a 10-barrel system. We are definitely not utilizing full capacity. We're still growing. And our tap room, our whole building, with a small addition that we made when we purchased the property, our total square footage is 7,600 square feet. Okay. And our tap room, I want to say, is a little over 3,600.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So we've got a decent sized tap room. We've got space out front, out back. So we do have, it's kind of rare for a downtown business to have green space here. We do. We have a green area out back. We've got a patio up front. So we do have a decent amount of outdoor space as well, in addition.
Do you guys ever sell any food there at all?
Do we say that again?
Do you guys sell food at all? Do you have a kitchen or anything?
We don't.
Oh.
That's an interesting question. We never wanted to be in the restaurant business. So being in the brewing business is fantastic. Don't regret it. Being in the food business, not what I want to do. So no, we follow the traditional model where we have a lot of food trucks rotating. Given the pandemic, and I know we're going to talk about this, but given what we went through and the restrictions that were put on us, we did go down the having our own food truck path. That was an adventure, and we're not doing it anymore. So we gave it a shot. We tried it, and I don't want to do it again. It's all about the beer for us.
And a lot
but
of breweries,
we do make sure. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Just a lot of breweries here in Milwaukee also do the food trucks where they bring them in, support the community, and then you have a snack while you drink the great beer.
Yeah, and it's a very common thing, I think, across the U.S. to have breweries partner with food trucks. And we like the rotating food trucks because it's a variety. For example, today we have one of the best pie trucks I've ever had. They're phenomenal. They're here. We had pizza 2 days ago. We had Venezuelan yesterday. So it's always something different, and customers like that too. They will seek out sometimes the brewery based on the food truck that we have here, and I'm okay with that.
Well, I bet it's nice though, because in Florida, your food trucks year round are great. Ours get a little chilly, and it's not as fun to sit on our patios in the winter with a food truck. Always have to take the food in. And
well, I will tell you the flip side of it. It's great, but we have rainy season. It's pretty hot the portion of the year here. So the flip side of it is, we have some undesirable weather as well. But we can sit outside more, I think, year round than you guys can, for sure.
Definitely.
Yep.
So you opened your brewery very close to the pandemic beginning. Can you tell us a little bit about how many days that was or what that was like?
Well, the shortest number is 2 days. So we opened on March 14th, 2020. It was a Saturday and a Sunday. We were open. Fantastic, great grand opening. Couldn't have asked for a better day, better weekend. And then Tuesday is when the state of Florida said shutting down. So we were normally going to be closed Monday and Tuesday. We still are, right now. So Saturday, Sunday, going to be closed Monday, Tuesday. We fully anticipated opening back up, Wednesday. Didn't happen. So we were open for 2 days before we were shut down. And it's been a roller coaster ride ever since. I have said more than once, I am ready to get off this ride. It's been a crazy one. So it is hard to remember the dates, exact dates, but we did go through a little bit of a roller coaster ride. Everything was shut down for a while, and then everything was reopened at one point, but on a limited basis, 25% and then 50%. Along the way, that was great. We saw a drop off because once people were able to go out to a restaurant again, they preferred doing that over coming in and still getting something to go. So we did see a significant decline when the restaurants reopened, even partially. Then they shut the bars down in Florida because our numbers were not getting better, our COVID numbers. And so they said, got to be the bars, got to be all the breweries, all of that, all the nightclubs, got to be them. So we were shut down again. So when I say shut down, we were always open to go, but we could not have people on site. And the breweries really kind of pushed back on that because we are more akin to restaurants than we are bars. We're not typically late night. We have over-the-top sanitation practices just because we're also manufacturing. So we pushed really hard to say, you got to find a way to let us reopen in some capacity. And out of that came partnerships with food trucks to say, or having some food component. So the key here in Florida was having that food component in order to reopen. So we, like a lot of others, we worked out a deal with a food truck and said, hey, can you be our food truck until things reopen? And not getting into the details of how that actually went down, but we were able to satisfy the state's requirements and we were able to reopen. That was July 23rd. I do remember that date. We were finally able to reopen in a capacity where we could have some indoor, come sit down and enjoy your beer and your food. So we rode that out as the state gradually reopened. And then as pretty much everybody in the country knows, we've been in the spotlight. We reopened fairly quickly after that. And, for right or wrong, I don't ever want to debate that. Look great. Then comes Delta. Things are getting better. Then comes Omicron. And, so it's been a wild ride.
Yeah.
But we were up and down, and a lot of it did center around here in Florida, whether or not you could provide food.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. We follow you on Instagram, so we've seen a lot of the ways that your brewery is able to work with the community with food trucks and events and the little market and things like that. So it really draws a lot of people in, I'm sure.
It does. And we have found the craft beer industry has changed a lot over the past, I'd say 15 to 20 years. It used to be, oh, they got craft beer. Let's go for that. And that was the reason that people went. Now with so many craft breweries out there, there has to be a little bit more of a draw because I can get it at numerous spots. I can get it on the shelf now in the store. So craft beer is accessible a lot more widely than it used to be. And so now we have found that we have to have a little bit more. And we love doing events. So it's a win-win, but it's just one more thing to say, hey, come visit us because not only is our beer great, but we've got this great fun thing for you to do. And we've got this great food truck today. And we've embraced it, and it's a lot of fun. It keeps it interesting.
And through the pandemic, did you and like the other breweries in your area kind of collaborate and try to come up with ideas on how to open back up or distribute, or did you kind of work independently on your own?
We mostly worked independently. There wasn't a lot of collaborations to be done beyond commiserating of how horrible this is, what we're going through. And we definitely did stay in touch in that regard. We have a fantastic set of breweries. We only have 6, but and the 6th one just joined fairly recently. And we just all get along really well. We talk with each other. We will attend brewing events together. And so it's a very good, you hear about how great breweries work together. It is definitely true here. And when I went through the program, the Brewing Arts program, part of it was an internship. And I did that at a neighboring brewery. And the support that, we've gotten from them has been phenomenal. And anytime I have a question, I have a need, I reach out to, there's 2 that are particularly close to us, and I reach out to them, and they've always been receptive and helpful and supportive. And we have a really good working relationship here. But as far as collaborating during the pandemic, there just wasn't much to be done. We were all in the same boat. And we just had to follow the same restrictions. And when they lifted, we just got our businesses back on track.
And then we saw that you guys had a brew off between the fire department and the police department. How did you, or did they come up with their own like beer like idea, and then you guys kind of just made it happen, or how did that work out?
So that is, I get that question a lot. We really enjoy it. It's one of our favorite events. We have a really good working relationship with our city, including our public safety departments, including the police department, emergency services, and the fire department. And so we were talking about it actually during the pandemic, saying, hey, when this all goes away, let's do something fun. And so the first year we met with them and let them pick. We kind of gave them a few choices and said, hey, here, pick here, and whoever grabs this style first gets it, and then the other group pick, and we'll roll with it. So the first year we did a smoked lager for the fire department, and we did the coffee and donuts ale with the police department. And so the first year the police department won. Yeah, it was very sweet, and it was they were both really good beers. I will say the police department, it was a good beer. It was a great beer. Very, very close margin on the winner the first year. The police department won by 2 votes. And it was a lot of fun too, because we opened it up to the public and said, hey, we're going to have this event, come down, check out the fire trucks. We've got a really old one. We've got a new one. We've got all this stuff, and come check it out and vote for the beers. So everybody got to sample each one, and they voted. We had a ton of votes. They won by 2 votes last year. So this year, of course, we had to do it again. It's going to be an annual event for us. We were a little bit more directive in the styles because we've been getting a lot of requests for an Irish red. Perfect. So fire department, you're going to do the Irish red this year. And with the police department, because we're also in blueberry season, we said, hey, we're going to do the beer that we did last year, but we're going to make it a blueberry donut. So we did kind of a twist on theirs. They won again for a second year in a row. So the police department's got a lot of bragging rights right now, but they actually come out. So we do a small batch brew with them, and they send members of their teams to come out and actually brew with us. And then they get as many of them as they can to come in on the day of the event. And it's just a lot of fun. It is one of my favorite events that we do.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we were watching on all your social medias at the competition since we couldn't be there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We have a great time. And a little side story, just the small community that we are, the police department, no, the fire department has an old fire truck. The building that we're in was built in 1908. Had a little bit of a history, did a couple different things. And in 1938, it was a dealership. It was a car dealership. And you would buy your car here. You would get it repaired here. You would gas up here is all in one. And the owner of that dealership happens to be the current fire chief's great-grandfather.
Aw.
And the truck that responded to that fire, they still have, and they bring it out on that event day. So it's just a fun little tie-in. So
Awesome.
we just have a lot of fun with that event. Yeah.
So
What was your question? Because I don't know how I got off on that tangent.
oh no, we were just
No,
asking
you
about the
answered,
event.
yeah, you answered it. I just asked how
Okay.
they the flavors and everything for the fire department and the police
Oh,
department.
yeah. Yeah.
Back at work, just writing the
I just love
recipe.
that fun fact.
We were going to ask a little bit about how you got your name, because we learned a little bit about what your building used to be. We were wondering if there was any connection there.
There definitely is. So, like I said, the building was built in 1908. It was a horse livery or horse stable. It was, I believe, the only one in town that was concrete. It was not a concrete block. Then when horses kind of went out of fashion and now we have the horseless carriage, so cars started becoming a thing, one of the owners of the horse livery converted it to a car garage, a repair shop. He then sold it to the fire chief's great-grandfather, Warren Hosmer, and it was an auto dealership for quite a while. And then in the late 50s, early 60s, one of the prominent newspaper and publishing families bought another newspaper, consolidated their paper into this building, and it became the Polk County Democrat newspaper. They were in operation until 2007. So a large part of our community worked here, delivered papers for the Democrat. They had some connection. They took sports photos. Every week, without fail, somebody comes in and says, "Oh yeah, my office was right over there," or "I used to do this." And it's always great hearing those stories. So there's a big connection with the community with this building. And so we wanted to pay homage to that history. And so it's Front Page Brewing Company. And it's a direct nod to the newspaper that ran out of here for so many years.
That's really cool. That's a great connection to have.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I love hearing the stories, because we're all about the community, and this community has a very direct connection with this building, and we love it.
That's great. So I have to ask, so who came up with the idea of having a splash of beer of every beer that you had and called it the bar mat? Have you tried it, and has anyone come in and actually gotten it?
So that was my husband, Bill. He was just goofing off one night and decided to do that. It is funny because so many people don't want to call it the bar mat, and so many people want to call it the bar mat. So we're not sure on the name yet. And yes, it is surprisingly good. I didn't think it would be, but it is, and we have had people order it. Yes, it's and the really cool thing about it is it changes depending on what we have on tap. So it's got whatever beers we have. It has a little bit of a seltzer component, and it has whatever ciders we have on tap. So it is not as disgusting as it might be. It's actually pretty good.
I know when you told us about
Funny that
it.
you guys noticed that. Yeah.
I mean, it's something that I would do.
Yeah.
Try it. Sure.
Yeah. We had a discussion.
So I have fun with it because we'll start talking about it, and I'll pour one, and we'll split it and share it, with a few people, and I will take it over to somebody I know and say, "Here, just try this." "Oh, that's really good. What is it?" And then when I tell them, they're like, "Oh, well, that's interesting." So we enjoyed it without knowing what it was. So it's kind of funny. We had a lot of fun with that one too.
I'm wondering if after people hear this, that might become a trend, that everyone at different breweries pours a little bit of each of their beers and tries it.
I don't know. I'm not sure if I want to be that trendsetter, but sure, why not? We've had fun with it. We've had fun with it, but all the credit goes to my husband, Bill. So.
Perfect.
And looking forward to the future, what are some next steps for your brewery or some goals that you guys have?
Gosh, that's a tough question too. Right now, my immediate goal is we just need the world to kind of settle down, get back into a rhythm, the routine that we used to know before COVID. That's the one thing that we've really seen is that people aren't quite ready to get back into their pre-COVID routines. Things have changed. The way we go about the world, the way we interact with the world has changed a lot. A lot more people are staying at home versus going out, and it's going to take a while to get back into what we used to know. So my immediate goal is just to ride that out. Let's see where we go, how we start interacting with other people and businesses again, and get our production in line to where we can accurately forecast what we need to do. And we've done a really good job on it, but we've had a couple of misses here and there where let's ramp up our production. Nope, we got to slow down again because now it's not going to move as fast because something else has happened. So that's my immediate goal is to get that just a little bit more predictable, if you will. And the world's not very predictable right now. Then we'll see where Florida goes with distribution. I am not ready to jump on board with a distributor yet. That's another thing with Florida is our distribution laws still favor the distributors very heavily. They're not as friendly to the small business, the craft brewer. So we've got some work to do as a state in that regard. So I'm not ready to pull the trigger on joining with a large distributor because I'd kind of be stuck. So I'm just kind of writing that out, seeing where we go. If we can start opening up with some limited self-distribution, that's ideal. I don't think we need to do a huge overhaul of our distribution laws. I think we need to get it to where we can allow small, new businesses like mine. Let me go service, get a keg here or there, get my name out. And then when we really ramp up, I can move over to a distributor that can handle large volume. So right now, it's just kind of sitting back and waiting. The real estate prices, like everywhere else, are absolutely crazy. So we are not looking at any other locations right now, but we're not ruling it out either. So we're just kind of in a holding pattern right now and just focusing on this tap room, this community, and building back up to where we should have been 2 years ago.
Right.
Well, and you guys have some great events at your brewery that get a lot of people interested and kind of separate you from the others too. So it's something that people can look forward to.
Yeah, our events. Yeah, we like to do different things. If it's an animal welfare. So just yesterday we had a pop-up from the Polk County Bully Project. So they are a rescue devoted to pit bulls and American bullies. And so we had them in, and that brought out, folks that wanted to look at the dogs they had available for adoption, or just come out and pet the dogs. We had a few people that, I can't get a dog, or I already have enough, but let me come pet these, So that brings out a different group than, say, the, police and fire department. We hosted a murder mystery dinner a couple of weeks ago that was really successful. Yeah, we sold out, packed house, and had a lot of fun with it. It's the first time we'd ever done one. We do comedy events. We host comedy events. We have the professionals come in, and it's something something different for everybody.
Okay.
No, that is incredible. You guys have a lot of exciting things happening.
Yep. I agree.
And is there anything else that we forgot to mention, or anything you'd like to share and add on?
No, I think that's it. We're in it for the community, putting a good product out there and having a place for our community directly and, immediately local and the greater community just to come and have a fun place to hang out and have a beer or two. And that's why we did it. That's what we're still about. And we're having a blast doing it.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for meeting with us today. If we're ever in Florida, we're going to stop by.
And I'll be stopping.
Please do. We'd love to have you. I don't know what we're going to call it by then, but absolutely. So thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
We've reached the end of this episode, but there's plenty more to keep you busy. For online source materials and proven case studies delivered right to your inbox, sign up for our mailing list by visiting marketthebrew.com. We'll see you next time on Market the Brew.